so many talks about like the soulmate, the one, the king, the prince, or even on the flip end, you know, my queen, my this, my that. And I think that isolates love sometimes. Like, people are on the search for the one, but I think depending on your advancement and your growth, I think like we kind of move in and out of all different kinds of relationships.
So the problem with that idea of the one is usually that means the one who can make me happy. The one who's going to be such a match for me that they'll never pull me out of alignment with my higher self. And the problem is there's no one that is that. You have to be that for yourself. Exactly. Yes. And so if you can be that for yourself, then you can be in a relationship with
anybody.
Yeah, anyone. I mean, there's some that are going to be easier.
And you could call all of them the one.
Yeah.
Because they'll be a vibrational match to you, and you'll just gel and you'll sync. And then I have to say, the key is you both advancing together, right?
Yeah.
And honoring yourself. I think that's one of the big things I've learned in the relationship was so many times I compromised my own values, my own beliefs, my own for somebody else, right? Well, if this one feels better, then I'll feel better. If this one happens, and it's not just significant other, it's all different kinds of relationships,
Absolutely.
Right? And so there's been this like journey of going within, and I think that's that self-love and self-assurance that you can show up in the world, meet people and connect with them, and not put value on your joy based on what they're going to offer you in that space.
Expectations.
Expectations are huge.
Yeah.
And that's usually what tears apart a lot of relationships is, first of all, it's not loving yourself fully. So then when you first meet somebody, they are going out of their way to make you happy. So they create these expectations that this is the person that can make me happy because I'm not happy with myself. And then as things go on and people have to start taking care of themselves and they can't put all their focus on you, now all of a sudden you're looking at it saying, oh my God, this person's changed. When in reality, they were never really were that person. They could never complete you the way you thought they were. Your expectations were, this person makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that no one can make you happy except yourself, you blame the other person. This person changed. This person, they don't do what they used to do before. They don't love me anymore. When
you got to realize, I've changed. I want more. Or this person.
Or I haven't changed.
My perceptions change. Yeah.
Right. Or, going to the place where, like, maybe you just max out. You max out with the energy. You learn as much as you're going to learn, and then you keep pulling more, but it was never meant to be more.
Yeah. Somebody who's in a relationship and they give all they have to the other person to make that person happy, eventually they're going to crash and burn because they need to start giving back to themselves.
Yeah.
And
I think so many cultures base that, and I think that's the fear, love, the guilt. Oh, they're your family, even though they're sucking you dry, you're crying all the time, you got no money left, they're making poor decisions, but they're family. And I think that's like the seeded roots that's just so wrong, because again, you feel guilty for taking care of yourself. And I think that goes back to the damage of the self-love. And why? Because we're instilled, I mean, especially with females, we're instilled to say, like, give everything to your children, give everything to your spouse, give everything to your job, give everything. And I think growing up, there's this like validation, like, oh, I have a happy family, so I'm happy. And when they're not happy, I'm not happy. And I think there's this big separation now of people where, again, divorce rates at 60% now, or even higher for second marriages and stuff. I think it goes back to, at some point, you have to be with yourself to learn like who you are, because it all goes back to vibrational matches, right? Something in you is attracting that over and over again. And when you bring it back to yourself, you're saying, okay, what are my beliefs? What do I need to shift, or what do I need to work on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, really, I mean, if you keep dating an ex-murderer, eventually you're going to get the ex.
That's true. Ding. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Lizzie Borden was this weekend, so I figured I'd throw in a little local charm.
There you go.
But it's true. I mean, if you attract the same type of person, is it on a soul level? You're trying to learn things. I mean, is love just part of that whole process?
Or is love the driving force that forces you to go through all this pain and suffering, or illusion of pain and suffering?
Yeah,
is love like the basis
for everything?
Well, I think it's people's perceived lack of love because they don't see that they're loved. They don't feel this eternal love that's coming from the universe, and they've been taught not to love themselves because no matter what you say, most of society is telling you that you're not perfect. You turn on the TV, if you have this car, you'll be happy. If you're losing your hair, if you get these implants, you'll be happy.
You have this body type, you'll be happy.
Exactly. So marketing, advertising is all about making you feel like you're not enough unless you have something.
They take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you don't fit this mold, then you feel. But I have to say that drives consumerism, right? Because that's the money.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a big portion of our society has gotten lost into right now. You know what I mean? And filling that void for that lack of love.
Yeah. And and come back to acceptance, that part of her question. Not accepting yourself for who you are. And then that doesn't mean not changing yourself. But until you can accept yourself for who you are, you have no platform to change yourself.
Well, I was saying that earlier when Nathan and I were setting up. I said I kind of laughed that I was born into this world as a left-hander, barely 5 feet, a triple cancer, which is all emotional energy. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, the world doesn't fit me. But I can tell you, every single TV show, every single car commercial, every single...
I don't understand. Why does left hand have to, your height mean anything?
Because chairs, like sitting in booths, they don't fit me. You don't know that because you're a giant. But
no, I'm the opposite.
So, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Most cars are built for people that are 6'1".
Yeah.
So there's certain cars I can't buy.
And that's what I mean. And so even being left-handed, like everything is like designed for right-handers, right? Chairs. I was complaining of body aches, and I think because I have to reach so much, and it's just kind of like catching up. I kind of laughed. I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But I also, even like when you watch TVs, like most of the females on there are between 5'7" and 5'8" or 5'10". They're in that, and they have that very slender build. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, I will never be that. It's not an unrealistic. It's an unrealistic expectation. But you're right. How society can make you feel unloved, right? And in that space. And I kind of laugh. Like at this point in my life, I've accepted. Like this is who I am.
Well, now you see a big thing now with the models. They have all these modeling agencies now for bigger women, and they do the catwalk and things like that because that's what they're selling to.
It's shifting now.
And not these, these very skinny women that 90% of the population, those clothes aren't going to fit.
Yeah. And I think that's the self-love movement that's out there.
Yeah.
It's slowly starting to transform.
Right. Well, you know why? Because they know there's money in it. They know that women are saying to themselves, listen, I like that outfit, but you're not going to make it for me. And they know if they have a larger size outfits that are really pretty that the women like to wear, they're going to make money off it. So I think it's a combination of business, being smart, and working with the idea of the self-love and to, not put women on this pedestal, or men or anyone on a pedestal and say, this is like the perfect godlike creature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So come back to the self-love,
And I think it goes both ways. I mean, you got good mediums and, like you say, quote, Joe, messy mediums. You've got great lawyers and not so great lawyers. You got great doctors and not so great doctors. I think it goes back to like, you got people out there who are advocating self-love and taking care of yourself. And then you've got others that are just capitalizing on the turn of events. And it's like, where are you attracting? Like, where are you going? And what are you seeing and what are you vibrating with? Right? It's all... Although I see it as a collective, there is a clear movement of that shift, which I think is amazing that enough people in this world put energy towards wanting it to change for men and women. And I think
accepting
that's
people
amazing.
for what they are.
And I think that's amazing.
I think is interesting though is that while there's this movement of acceptance, there's also, how do I word this right? Sometimes people there's also an anti-change part of that.
Always.
And so.
But I think that's the.
But look, like I think of this thing, like, so you want people to accept their body as it is, but at the same time, you also want to promote people to be healthy. And so, where's the fine line of saying, like, like, love yourself if you're overweight, but still get healthy, because love yourself enough to be healthy.
Well, I have to say, so my weight has been ridiculous.
So mine's up and down all the time too.
And I have to say, when I love myself, I make better choices, I eat healthier, and I lose weight.
Yeah.
Emotionally, when I go to that place or have these experiences, guess what I do? The first thing I do, eat ice cream and cakes and cookies. So I really feel like starting at the feel good, love and appreciate yourself.
Oh, you have to. You absolutely have to.
And then eventually you have that desire to really take care of your body. I'm very picky with food right now. It's funny, somebody said, oh, where do you want to go eat? You're the picky one. And I was like looking at them like they have 10 packs. I'm like, I'm picky? Really? Yeah. And then I was thinking about, well, I don't want to go to this restaurant. I want to go to that restaurant. I want to do this. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, but you know what? I'm not going to feel guilty about it because I feel good when I'm eating healthy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I enjoy life, but the majority of what I eat, but it all comes back to that self-love feeling, right?
But don't you feel
accepting who I am and then making better choices because this helps me feel better.
Don't you feel like too, though, that there's this interesting movement, and maybe it's just a balancing act and scales have to go up and down. But I find now that there's, in the liberation of some people for accepting themselves, which is awesome, that I'm all for, that they also find a freedom to attack the other people. So now you'll find people that are overweight saying, like, look at that skinny bitch, or look at this, or look at that they feel that they have, that in their freedom, they feel like they have the power to be the aggressor now.
Well, then they haven't truly learned the lesson. It's like
it's a control thing.
They haven't truly, like, I don't want to say learned the lesson. They haven't truly gotten it. If I'm in the, like we talk about people who like are vegans or people who are vegetarian or people who eat this or that. Once they start feeling good, they're like, oh, you're awful because you do this and you do. Right. Well, at one point you did it, and it was fine for you. And I think that's still ego. It's still like, that's
absolutely
great, you feel better, but I think it's still surface because it's only a matter of time before that shifts too.
And that's where that.
So it's like an illusion of healthy or an illusion of, because really, if you truly love yourself, you can separate from anything anyone's doing.
Yeah.
Really. And I think I live like that. Like, all these things and everything's happening. I'm thinking, gosh, I don't even know, because I'm minding my own business, doing my own thing, shining my light in the world the way I was guided to or the way I was born to, right?
And I think part of it, if you can, we'll go back to body stuff, because that's a big thing for people. If you can realize that you're not just your body, right? So it's like, I'm not my body. My body's a vessel to experience. So now when I think about that, I say, well, how do I mold that so that I can experience life the way I want to? Yeah. How do I shift this tool that I have to work best for me? And so now, instead of identifying with when I do put on weight and identifying with, oh, I feel more sluggish, I don't like this, I can get sad and depressed about it. Instead, you look at it and say, oh, I need to rework the tool. Like, I need to shift this. I need to make it what I want.
How do you gain weight being a vegan?
It's easy.
Is it?
Yeah. They make vegan ice cream. They can do a lot of carbs and stuff. It's
okay.
It's still not all healthy ingredients. Even though there's no like animal product and stuff, they can still put poor ingredients in it.
And going back to marketing, companies have realized there's a market for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So now they've found ways to synthesize all the junk food just in a vegan version.
I saw that. I saw vegan ice cream.
And it has an adverse effect on your body because, again, it's all new and your body's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And so that's the space where, like I said, you fall into this and you wonder, well, I followed this, so why am I still this? That's that external saying, this diet or this way of eating or this is going to make me feel better. And really at the core of it, it never does. Yeah. Like, you have to do what's right for you. And I think
the intention behind it's love, you're going to be inspired towards the actions that will make you feel better.
And I have to say, like, the more I love myself, I have to say, the more I desire and crave fruits and vegetables. The more I desire, like my mom, she buys, the little Snickers minis things.
Yeah.
And when I was first giving up sugar, moving away from it, or reducing the amount I was having, it would drive me nuts that she would get it and she'd put it in the freezer and it would be on my mind. I laugh because I've detoxed or really kind of retrained myself in the way. It's there and I have no desire for it. I have and I feel like as you shift inside, it outside naturally shifts. So I didn't have to say, no, Snicker, I'm not going to have you, and blah, blah, blah.
It breaks the cycle.
Yeah, I just stopped thinking about it. I just stopped craving it. I stopped, so there are things that I'll look at the ingredients and I'm like, oh, I don't want that. That's going to make my body feel bad.
Yep.
And again, I'm not going to chastise my mom for eating that.
Yeah.
I definitely pulled out of that because that got nowhere, right? That was just more draining on me. But looking at it and saying,
you were trying to take her Snickers away from her.
I was trying to get her not to bring it in the house because clearly I had a problem. But I realized
but then whose problem is that? That's your problem.
That's your problem, right.
Exactly. And once I realized
It's like the glow stick away from the little boy.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, everything changed for me.
Yeah.
That there are going to be, what's the word, in this world?
Tests?
They're going to be temptations in this world. And you can take all the time to get angry at them or angry at this and angry at that. All it's going to do is suck you dry and you're just going to get sucked in. It's like quicksand. Mm-hmm. And so I've learned to say, okay, I can choose not to watch that, or I can choose not to be with those people, or I can choose, and that's self-love and self-assurance that no matter where I am in the world, I will be okay. And I think that's that part she was talking about, the self-love part, the self-assurance. I went to...
And then you were happy, and your mom was happy because she still got her Snickers. Mm-hmm. Everyone's happy.
Well, and you're also empowered because now you become unconditional in that feeling, whereas before you were conditional. Before you were, I can only be healthy if unhealthy things aren't around me.
Yes.
So it was a conditional state of being. Exactly.
I think we were just talking about that earlier with another situation of love or something. It was saying this person's bad because of this. And that is the same thing. It's like that conditional, you're putting conditions on it.
Yep.
So if not this, then this, or I'm better. And I think that's all still the ego vibe, which is really not true unconditional love.
Yeah. It's not who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
Hi, everybody. If you like what you watched, please subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook. And check out our website at alwaysconsiderthesource.com.
Hey, if you want us to come out to your location and do a live setup, we'd love to do that. Continue to send in your questions, and we look forward to interacting with you.
And remember, always consider the source.